Shabbos. This week is a very special Shabbos. It is Gimel Tammuz, the third of Tammuz, which is the date of the Yartzeit, the 28th Yartzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. To us, the Rebbe means the world. We are on Shlichus. We're emissaries of the Rebbe because he sent us here. Our whole life has been guided by the teachings, inspiration of the Rebbe. Not only that which we got before the Rebbe's passing, but thereafter as well. Not only from his teachings, but in many different ways, we get his guidance to how to forward matters in our life and our shlichus from the Rebbe. Just in the last number of months, we've had tremendous guidance and blessings that have helped many health issues in my family that I'm not going to share now, but that we've been blessed with incredible blessings and guidance from the Rebbe. So what is a Rebbe? Now, everyone knows, you've heard stories about what the Rebbe's care for every Jew and how the Rebbe established this incredible institution called Shlichus. And you have 5,000 some odd Shlichim all over the world, influencing and helping and involving themselves with the Jewish people in all different kinds of ways, each one with their unique talents and inspiration, thereby bringing the Rebbe's message to so many people and inspiring Jews and helping Jews in so many ways. And we know that. We know about the Rebbe's care, and the stories come out all the time, and they're amazing. I want to go a little bit deeper as to what a Rebbe is. Of course, a Rebbe is a teacher. So the Rebbe's guidance and teachings is what's incredibly insightful and deep, and they're remarkable in every area of Torah. But I want to go beyond that as well. What is a Rebbe? The Torah tells us we have a mitzvah, l'dafka bay, to connect to God. To connect to God is a mitzvah. And this mitzvah, how do you achieve that? How do you do this mitzvah? So the Talmud says that l'dafka bay is done through connecting to Talmidei Chachamim, to scholars, to tzaddikim. When we connect to the tzaddik, that's how we connect to God. So what does this mean? And how does this work? And basically, we each have a divine soul. And this divinity of our soul is sometimes and quite often latent. As a matter of fact, the more we sin, the more our soul removes itself from our conscious self. How do we access this divinity, this power, this ability that we have that is actually beyond measure, beyond limits? Because if it's godly, it's beyond nature. So we need to access it. How do we do so? Well, when we understand that the Jewish people are one soul, we're one organism, and each one of us is like one different limb of the soul. A Rebbe is the head. He's the head of our soul, which means he is part of who we are. The difference is that he has revealed his godliness in himself. And by us connecting to a Rebbe, that reveals the godliness within us. So the Rebbe helps us see ourselves for who we can be. By plugging in, by connecting, as the Torah says, we thereby enable ourselves to see the vast abilities that we're given. And we hear so many people, chief amongst them, the former chief rabbi of the Commonwealth, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, speaking how the Rebbe helped him see his own greatness. It wasn't that he saw the Rebbe's greatness, but the Rebbe helped him see his own greatness. And that's what the Rebbe did to people. He helped them see what they could achieve because he revealed who they were. How did he do that? By virtue of our connection to him, we reveal the unity of our souls. And thereby, enable ourselves to be in touch with ourselves. This explains possibly one of the stories in the Parsha. In this Torah portion, Parshat Korach, Korach, of course, leads a mutiny against Moshe. Hashem punishes Korach and he's swallowed in the ground. And many of his followers are either swallowed in the ground or burnt by fire. Thereafter, the Jews are still not content. They say, Moshe, you're responsible for this, for what happened. And Hashem says to Moshe, this is what you tell them. The leader of every tribe should give their staff, and will place all those staffs in the temple, in the Mishkan, near the Holy of Holies. And the one I have chosen, his staff will sprout. And they took all the staffs, and Aaron's staff, the one that they were fighting against, Aaron's staff was in the middle. Torah clearly says, specifically says, b'soich, inside, in the middle of their staffs. And then, of course, Aaron's staff is the one that sprouted almonds. Why does the Torah say it was in the middle? So Rashi tells us in order that if it was closer to the Holy of Holies, then they would say, you put it closer. It was the closest one. That's the one that sprouted. Well, then it could have been on the other side. It could have been a more distant one. Why does the Torah say within? The Rebbe actually explains the reason the Torah says within is to tell us that his staff was within their staff, meaning they needed him to be able to achieve who they were. Aaron helped the other tribes, the other leaders of the tribes, become the best that they could be. And that is why the Torah concludes the story by saying they saw and they all took their staff. Why was it important to say they all took their staff? To say that their individuality, who they were and what they achieved as a leader of that particular tribe also is connected to Aaron's staff being amongst them. The fact that Aaron was amongst them, that allowed them to express and reveal who they really were. So on this day of Gimel Tammuz, it is a day for us to strengthen our bond and connection to the Rebbe. How do you do so? By learning his teachings, reading his books. There's so much in English that you could do on that in this regard. There's videos that with English subtitles of GEM. You could become a subscriber. You could see many of them on YouTube. There's a vast amount of literature, of information. And if you choose to learn the Rebbe's teachings and to follow his guidance in how to care for another Jew, follow his guidance in believing in the imminent arrival of Mashiach, follow his guidance in every area of life that is world-changing, that gives you a different form of perspective and inspiration in life, then when we do so, we reveal that Rebbe in us, that holiness within us, that godliness, that neshama that we each have, that sometimes lay latent. By connecting to the Rebbe, it flowers, it's revealed, it expresses itself. So on this Gimel Tammuz, as we remember this special, this unique day of 28 years, in Hebrew 28 is koyach, power. This is hopefully a day that gives us strength and power to fulfill our mission and purpose in the world by being Hashem's messengers on earth. The Rebbe will help us reveal that so that we ultimately see the revelation of godliness on earth when all of tzaddikim and all those who came before us will come back with the imminent arrival of Mashiach and then the resurrection of the dead. Good Shabbos, and have a meaningful third of Tammuz.